Okay, that's live. All right, I think we're live. Sweet. Give a few more minutes for some people to pop up on here. I know we're having kind of a microphone malfunction. Okay, cool. It's all live. There's some stuff up here. It's live. All right. Yeah, we won't have the microphone, so I'm gonna kind of talk a little bit loud. Oh man, what a grands this year! What a grands! Woo! Yeah. Hopefully, we'll get the microphone situation fixed at the end of this week. Hopefully. So. All right. We're live there. Check here. Okay. So, welcome back to Northwest Arkansas BMX Podcast, show number 13. It's show number 13. Guys, man, it's been awesome getting to do all this stuff. So, we just got done with Grands week last week, and have a lot of stuff to share. Got some hot news just right off the press that I'm gonna give out at the end of the show. And trust me, guys, it is hot press. It's right off the press. It's gonna be. I'm excited for it. So let's actually go ahead and start. You know, big shout out to our big supporters, of course. Somewhat our sponsors, but Beer Budget BMX podcast, awesome, great group of guys there in that podcast. Also with All Things BMX, Chris Beer over there. Man, yeah, great podcast. I always love listening to those guys. Oklahoma S Squared, Northwest Arkansas BMX, which that is going to be part of the big um, hot press at the end of the show. So stay tuned. Runway Bike Park, best bike park here in Springdale. Home to the 2018 Red Bull World Championship for the pump track racing. So let's get into some of the topics here. I know a lot of you are traveling back or already traveled back home from the Grand Nationals, or you guys stayed at home and had Thanksgiving dinner during Thanksgiving week with family. But man, Grands, there's a lot of things that happen at Grands, and some takeaways and some heated topics from the Grands that we're going to talk about. Um, so, like, for those jumping on, like, how did you, if you went to Grands, like, how did everyone do at Grands and Rock? I know I had a pretty good turnout. There were some riders from Northwest Arkansas that had a really good turnout. Um, I'm going to start with a couple of our riders that made the main event at Rock. Silas Strecker. Silas Strecker, first of all, I believe he took a 6th or 7th place at Rock, but he did very well all day, throughout the day. Every moto I got to watch him. Man, what a fantastic rider! I can't wait to watch what he does next year. Another rider, Tammy Hottinger, made the main event, took 3rd at the Rock, which was huge for, of course, a group of people that don't have a track just yet. Of course, I took 4th place in the open class, which for me it was total points, but I I had some fun with that. Get to learn the track. Also, I fought my way through in class and took 8th place in the main event at Rock. So that was cool. Yeah, yeah, you get to see the 4th place and 5th place awards for Rock. That was that was really cool. Something I've never done before. So yeah, man, all the racing at Rock and Grants throughout the week was so cool, so fantastic. A lot of takeaways, a lot of learning opportunities you learn from other riders. It was all fun. Of course, I don't know if I'll put that at the end or not. Yeah, yeah, I'll put that at the end. But man, some of the hot, heated topics and takeaways from Grands this year, it was interesting. Um, I know there was some. Of course, I didn't go, but I seen videos and posts of this on the No Hold Bar page and everywhere else. But Pro Spectacular, man, it had issues. Of course, you had the mic issues. You had, of course, there's going to be technical issues, but of course, you had the banners somewhat in the way of spectators, which is kind of odd to me, especially with the way where they were set. Of course, Flow Sports had their own issues. Some of it didn't flow that well, pun intended. Of course, people paid $30 just to watch, and I think it was day 2 of Rock. They put it on YouTube for quite a bit of time. Just I guess because of the stuff that was going on the day before. You know, I noticed this throughout the all my years of going to Grands. I I've always heard of bike theft, and this year we didn't really have that many of bike theft, which that was kind of odd to me. But you know, what you can't do that. That's actually good news, better news than what most would say. Of course, there was some other little stuff to the side that were really ridiculous. Of course, you had the e-bikes, the e-scooters. I guess security was cracking down on them. But like I said, mic issues. I know there was a couple of pros out there that kind of called it out during the pro spectacular, which to me that's one of the issues that could have been fixed. But of course, you had Race Champions Day 2 running a little bit longer than usual, so they didn't have enough time to turn around and actually do all the mic testing. Um, Man, I do have to give this Vet Pro a shout out because he is one of the biggest ambassadors for the sport of BMX and one of the biggest names of the Vet Pro class. A huge congratulations and shout out to Nick Long for the Duffel Bag Dash. He raised $25,000 for the pros and amateurs. So big shout out to Nick Long. I mean, he does a lot for our sport, and he deserves a lot of recognition to what he does. All the clinics he puts on, of course, raising money for our own amateurs and pros. That's fantastic. That should be recognized everywhere in every corner of the sport. So we had a little bit more of some more hot topics. Moving on. Of course, if you guys didn't see on the No Holds Bar BMX page, so Peyton Ridenour posted this. I think it was Friday or Saturday, something like that. I think it was Friday night or Saturday morning. That she's looking for sponsors for next year, and guys, for pros to come out saying, "Hey, I'm looking for sponsors." That's saying something. But hey, you got riders and teams moving around towards Grands. Of course, that's going to be a given because you're going to go have one rider move from their current team to another team. And then another team taking that rider and just give them the boost that they need. But yeah, and yeah. So any teams that's tuning in, Peyton Ridenour is looking for sponsors, guys. So we get into one of the big events for Grands Week. One of my favorites throughout, the biggest highlight of Grands Week, and that is the side hacks. This year, the side hacks, instead of qualifying out at Hardesty and being at the pro show at Grands, they went to Sand Springs BMX, and man, what a turnout! I believe they had, like 40 something motos, and at the pre Grands race, they had 2 motos of side hack. Yeah, two full motos of side hack, which that was cool. 8 total side hack teams. There was an A main and a B main. In the A main, of course, you had Torker. You had, I want to say, whatever the team is, came in from Illinois. They actually won the A main, which that was cool. That was cool seeing another team come in on our own turf and just beat us. Even beat Torker, which that was kind of cool. Then I think it was Dark Horse that took a spot in the A main. Of course, I got thrown into the B main after a couple of laps that kind of sucked with Chad Brock. And then thrown in with us was the first timers from, I believe it was North Dakota. That was kind of cool, seeing some side hackers from North Dakota come down for the first time. Then we had Team Mediocre and Factory Dad Barbecue into that one. That was fun. The B main was more interesting, I guess, instead of the A main. And this is the reason I say this. You have three three teams in there that has been battling it out all year long at Hardesty and Sand Springs in the Heat Wave Sidehack Series, and they get to battle each other out. I think the big battle in that group was between us and Mediocre, because of course we were talking smack and stuff back and forth on the shoots. But of course, we came out swinging in the main event, got the whole shot. Surprisingly, we got the whole shot out of gate 1 and 2. Of course, there was carnage behind us going in turn 1, unfortunately, with Team Mediocre going down and almost taking everybody out as well. Big shout out to Daniel, Douglas, and Craig McMillan. Hope you guys are doing okay. I know Daniel, he's out for a while. But man, what a heck of a race. Of course, it was neck to neck down the last straightaway for the B main between Factory Dad Barbecue and the Oklahoma Outlaws. The A main, man, I didn't get to watch much of the A main. Of course, I went before the A main, but as much as I seen, man, they were going neck to neck with Torker and Dark Horse. They weren't letting up. So, yeah, the side hack stuff at Sand Springs went pretty well, I thought. So, some of the cool stuff that I seen at Grands. I think going with the pits. I think my favorite pit was probably the impact tent, with the giant, big, incredible Hulk. I mentioned this the other day in a interview on another BMX podcast, and I thought that was the coolest one out of all of them. I know you had Chase send it, um, Huffy, Powerlight, ODI, all the other great vendors. But I thought Impact was a nice standout setup. They do it every year, and I think it was between them and the BMX Sharks that had a really good setup. Of course, you had the Vintage Bike Show Saturday. If you guys got to come in, pop in, see some old school bikes. The Vintage Bike Show was pretty nice this year. A little bit less than the last couple of years, actually, from when I've been going. But of course, it's cool to see some of the guys I've seen at Guy Cooper's, at the bike show that I put on this fall. You also had the parts wall. The parts wall was massive compared to the last few years. Of course, you have bike parts, you have shoes, clips, all kinds of stuff. I sold a couple of things on the parts wall. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff throughout the week. Of course, you had the vendors like J&R, Tangent, Full Tilts, On Two Wheels, all those cool bike shop vendors, and all those little side vendors. So yeah, of course, if you guys didn't tune in to the All Things BMX podcast on Wednesday night, or the Beer Budget BMX podcast on Wednesday night, I was actually invited. If you guys know from my last show, I was invited to be on there and give a little bit of my take of the points for the pros, amateurs, and of course promote this podcast. So yeah, big shout out to Beer Budget, All Things BMX. It was an incredible show. I really enjoyed it. Thanks BMX. Um, yeah, yeah, they're doing some awesome stuff. I got to look at some stuff that I've never seen before. BMX Insights. I got to take a look at that uh, right after this show, and some of the stuff I can say I've done, but like there's a lot of races on there that I've done that's not on there. So I'm kind of on the fence about BMX Insights. But a lot of really cool stuff on that website. Fantastic. Of course, going to Grants every year, you get to learn a little bit of something new, and of course some old stuff as well. But yeah, awesome show altogether. Another again, beer budget, all things BMX. You guys did an awesome show on Wednesday. So we get up to the Pro Spectacular. I didn't go this year just because Side Hacks wasn't in there, and I usually go when Side Hacks are in there. But this year wasn't the case. So from what I understand, some of these results, this is how it went down. Of course, you had Nick Long winning it all night long, but you couldn't catch the big man himself, the Big Jeff Upshaw, which he is the current, well, your new number one vet pro, along with the Canadian Molly Simpson is your new woman pro. That presentation was really cool to see. Of course, Elise Willoughby did a video, which that was kind of cool. My favorite pro of all time in BMX, presenting that the way that it should be. Of course, you have the number one man pro, Cam Wood. That was more of a given. Of course, it was going to be hard to catch him. Him and Jeff Upshaw, Molly Simpson, man, it was going to be a miracle to at least beat him in points. Of course, you had all those female pros. You had, I was say, Molly Simpson, Lauren Reynolds, and Peyton Ridenauer just hitting that pro set. That was kind of cool to see. You know that was going to be the big three of the pro show. And then, of course, a really cool shout out to the number one bike of the year, Supercross, which Supercross and Torkers, owned by the same company. Torker puts on the side hack stuff here in Oklahoma. So that's pretty cool to see. So yeah, like how I'm gonna ask this question again. I know it's towards the beginning of the podcast notes, but like, how did you guys do? Grands, Rock. I know a lot of people had a lot of fun. Of course, another big thing that comes after Grands is the Grand Flu, which I know a few people got. Of course, the ventilation in that building ain't that great, and it hasn't been that great the last few years. So, so yeah, Grands was fun. Still kind of recovering from all the cool stuff at Grands, all the racing. Got to see some riders for the first time at Grands. Got to cheer them on. Of course, some people from my home track. Got to see some people from the Oklahoma tracks, Yukon, Sand Springs, Hardesty, Mays County. All the awesome families, riders, track operators. It's all nothing but a BMX family. So now that Grands is over, we are into the ending of the BMX season, which that means we have some events coming up We have the prior Christmas parade, which is this Saturday. Parade starts at 7, but I believe everyone's going to be meeting around 6:30 ish for that event. If you want more information for the prior Christmas parade, go to the Mays County Facebook page for more info as they post it this week. I think this would be my third or fourth time going to the prior Christmas parade, and it's always a blast. Been bringing my side hack along, do some fun stuff there. And of course, next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, the Mays County BMX is doing a toy drive. And of course, it's going to be their last race of the season. So get on over there. That one was a fun one to do last year. If you bring, I think, $15-20 worth of toys, you get the race for free. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's what we did last year. So yeah, bring a toy. I think we had close to $2,000 to $5,000 worth of toys. I think we had a huge trailer load. So, and also not just on the 13th, but after you guys are done racing at Mays County and being part of the toy drive, come on out to Sand Springs BMX December 14th. The Northwest Arkansas BMX podcast and Sand Springs BMX is partnering up with to do a side hack race, which would be the Side Hack Christmas Classic. This will be the very first Christmas Classic. Hopefully this will continue into next year and more years to come. So come on out. It's going to be fun. I know one team will be out of the Side Hack race, of course, due to their wrecking. So yeah, come on out. Side Hack Christmas Classic, December 14th, Sand Springs BMX. So I know this is going to be more of a short podcast show, but hey, here comes the hot news that I told you guys at the beginning of the show. So a lot of you guys are aware of the Northwest Arkansas BMX situation with not having a track. Of course, our track was dozed 2 years ago in Lowell, Arkansas. We received news back in May that we have land for a new track. Throughout from May all the way to now, we've had no firm confirmation of when we're going to have the track built. I know Pool Magazine has put something in there that says Pea Ridge, Arkansas. But this morning, right off the press, so this is a hot news kind of thing, the city of Pea Ridge has got a grant for Northwest Arkansas BMX. So it sounds like more information is to come. So this is saying, and when I say this, we're getting a track. We're getting a track. It's more definite as things are coming. So Pea Ridge, Arkansas, BMX is coming your way. It's going to be huge. A lot of stuff, cool stuff is going on with Northwest Arkansas BMX. Yeah, that news hit this morning when I looked at my messages. Just seeing that just made my day. So, yeah, Northwest Arkansas BMX coming soon to Pea Ridge, Arkansas. Hopefully late spring, early summer. I know Pool Magazine said third quarter of 2026, which would be, July to September. But I think it might be a little bit earlier considering what we already have, the list that is written out. So, yeah, some really cool news coming out of Northwest Arkansas. So hopefully, of course, there was a lot being shared on post. So this is exactly from the post that the mayor, Nathan C., Mayor of Pea Ridge, Arkansas, is posted on his page. Um, Congrats on being awarded a fiscal year 2026 matching grant in the amount. The Outdoor Recreation Grants Advisory Committee recommended your grant funding based on the items in your application. This will be for a trail connector from the city to Baker Hayes Urban Bike Trail and a BMX track. Not just any BMX track, but one that will create economic impact in our city. 2026 is going to be a very busy year with projects in North and Pea Ridge, Arkansas. So that's huge, guys. That's very huge. So be on the lookout. The BMX track here in Northwest Arkansas will be revived, and it's going to be really cool. Okay, cool. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. But other than that, I think I kind of ran through some of the topics a little bit fast. But yeah, man, Grands was fantastic this year. Got out there Tuesday, Sand Springs, got the new side hack. Man, got to join Carter and Chris Beer and Justin Tompkins, all those guys over there. Fantastic show. Of course, I was kind of the quiet guy over there on the corner, but hey, that's always fun. John Hinkle joined us while Rick had to go do something. It was kind of cool. Kind of cool getting to see that and be a part of the show this year. Hopefully, that'll be an every year thing. So, and hopefully next year we will have our own pit area where we run our own show and have our own equipment. This is just the foundation for our podcast this year. Next year, we're gonna have a lot more stuff going on. Hopefully, a lot more equipment that we could have, like microphones and whatnot. Our audio would actually work. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on. So, anyways, I think we are going to be getting off here a little bit early. I know it's late at night, but yeah, fantastic week. A lot of hot topics, a lot of cool stuff after Grants. So, other than that, I guess I'll get off here and hopefully this weekend I'm going to be taking a break from the show, and we will be having our next show on next show will be next Sunday at the Side Hack Christmas Classic at Sand Springs BMX. Hope to see you guys there. I know it's gonna be a fun thing. So until then, see you guys later.